Today, we're going to discuss the significance of fostering social media accountability and awareness. Effective methods for training employees in social media conduct, risk mitigation techniques to safeguard against potential social media pitfalls, and establishing an inclusive online environment for your employees. Okay, so we have TJ. TJ Kolese is our CEO at LifeBrand.
Hi, everybody.
And Kevin Quillen is Director of Education here at LifeBrand.
Hey, everyone.
So we're going to get it rolling. So I want to start with TJ. TJ, so why is it important for a company to foster social media accountability and awareness among its employees, and not just the company's administrative channels?
Yeah, Sharif, it's one of the most important things companies can do nowadays. I mean, so let's face it, everybody has social media. The overwhelming majority of your workforce has social media, and it's an amazing tool. It can be an incredible asset for companies, but it also can be a big liability. I mean, every employee, think about this. If you have 5,000 employees, that's 5,000 individual micro brands that represent your company. What your employees are saying and doing online does have a direct correlation to your company. You could be losing business or clients that you're not aware of. You might miss out on opportunities because people are seeing what your employees are posting on social media. It can cause problems amongst employees. Companies used to only have to worry about, inner employee issues between 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But now maybe an employee's friends with another's on social media. They see something that they post at 2 a.m. on a Saturday. That can create a hostile work environment. That can create problems. And I think most HR professionals that are watching right now and that are out there, they'll all agree that social media has caused a problem in their workplace, but they're just looking for ways to address it. Less than half the companies out there even have a social media policy in their handbook. And next to no companies provide adequate training on it or adequate resources to their employees. And that's why LifeBrand was founded. We're in the, on our way right now to becoming the world leader in social media education, detection, and prevention. And we can really help companies put an entire social media program together that not only will help their company's brand and reputation and image, but it'll help the individual brand, reputation, and image of every single employee they have.
Thanks. I thought I heard something somewhere that roughly about half of the Fortune 1000 do not have social media policies.
Yeah, that is true.
So, Kevin, you want to talk into that a little bit more?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing you want to absolutely do is have a social media policy in place for your employees and your company. Right now, we're actually going to drop a link. If you're one of the companies that don't have a social media policy already established, we'll provide that for you. It gives you some of the language that you absolutely want to have included, but you can also tailor it and tweak it towards your company's, policies, guidelines, standard of conduct. So that's something that you want to have like first thing. It's just an absolute must. But then the challenge for companies really becomes, well, how do you communicate that information in a way where you can measure whether your employees really understand that information? So, I mean, there's a couple of things you can do. I mean, one, you can try to disseminate that information internally through your communication channels. However, as we all know, email can often be overlooked, overused, and there's not really a good way, again, to measure whether that information is newly acquired knowledge and is understood by your employees. So another option is that you could go through discussions, small group discussions with your employees. However, in today's workplace, a lot of people are in and out of the office depending on the nature of their role. They might be on the road, they might be out. So again, that's something that's a method that's costly. But again, it's really we're trying to figure out a way to really hit home where all of your employees understand what your expectations are as it pertains to social media, in the workplace and outside of the workplace. And that's where we really get into the option of having an online course offering. And there's some advantages of doing so. One of which is you can measure and track every step of the way of how your employees are performing with the course. So are they registered? Have they completed it? Do you want to have an assessment with a certification at the end to ensure that they really have that new knowledge that you want them to understand. So that's really important when it comes to, having, a training course. Also, and having it online would give them the ability and the flexibility to kind of complete it at their own pace. So those are some of the advantages you want to have, or that you would have, in implementing an online course offering to cover this content.
So when you say measure, can you go more into that? What do you mean?
Yeah, so I mean, ideally, you want to have a course that's covering this content with an assessment at the end, directly measuring what you want and expect your employees to know as it pertains to social media use, all that alignment with your social media policy that you're going to adopt. And so having an assessment at the end and being able to see what questions people are getting, what questions maybe still people are not getting, so that you can then focus and give them the resources and have those, have that extra emphasis on what it is they need, so they fully understand what your expectations are, for your employers, I should say. So
basically, what I seem to be hearing is not only can I can measure how many employees actually started the course, got partway through, but I can also measure what areas of the course people had difficulties with. So if a passing grade is 80%, you can go back and say, oh, this is the largest area where people did not do well, even though they still passed.
Absolutely. And not only that, but offering it to them in a way that an online course would provide to them, you can provide more context in those examples that you want them to understand, and really get into the fine line and details and scenarios, that people face in the workplace on this issue.
And Sharif, if I can interject, when you are giving it to people in a course type thing, besides all the benefits that Kevin just mentioned about being able to make sure what they're learning, see if they're obtaining it, see if they're, taking it in. The best part is the content can be coming from a third party, not from that employer. Because think about it, for any of the HR professionals out there, as you can imagine, you talking to your employees about their personal social media, it's going to be an uncomfortable gray area, something that most organizations aren't going to feel comfortable doing, yet it's super important. So for you to be able to go out and get an online program that's taking the place of the employer, and now it's a third party, now it's a trusted leader in that space, the employees are much more willing to listen to them versus, unfortunately, HR. Imagine if HR was saying, hey, here's this great course, we're going to provide you with all this information, but don't worry, we won't hold anything against you. You're going to be like, I don't think I want to talk to them about this. This is a chance for somebody else to step in and deliver the message on your behalf that can still be tailored to what you want to them, but at least it's going to be coming from a voice they're more likely to listen to.
Now, for some reason, this sounds a lot like the existing sexual harassment and DEI training. Can you draw any parallels to those? Yeah,
Sharif, it's an exact parallel with that. When you think about sexual harassment, not just training, let's take a step back and think about sexual harassment problems in the workforce. When they first started happening years ago, nobody thought to put policies in place. Nobody thought to put education in place for it. It was one of those things where everyone just thought, oh, it's common sense. People know how to act or what to say or not say in the workplace. And then for a really long time, it was a big problem in gray area for companies. There was this big elephant in the room where everyone knew it was a problem, but because it was a sensitive issue, nobody wanted to talk about it. Well, that's what social media is now in the workplace. It's something that has become a serious problem, but because it's sensitive of people saying, oh, that's my right to say what I want, that's my personal social media, it's a problem that's just been ignored. There's that big elephant in the room. And just like with sexual harassment training, DEI training, all the other trainings that people take at companies now, eventually people said, okay, we got to do something about this. We need to educate people. Our employees have the right to feel comfortable at work. They have the right to have knowledge on what's allowed, not allowed, etiquette. So for people just to kind of be going through not knowing what their social media policy is, or if one even exists, what's okay, what's not okay, It's not fair to the employees not to provide this training to them. And it's just so important. It's so important because, like I said, these are micro brands that represent your company that so many companies are ignoring. And it's a great opportunity to improve your company's brand and reputation while giving something back to your employees, a great benefit. You're making every single one of your employees look better personally, individually, and their strong brands collectively represent your brand. It's a real true win-win, right in line with other courses. And look, I can make the prediction. Obviously, I'm the CEO of a company that specializes in providing these services, so maybe I'm slightly biased, but I can tell you with over the next 5 years, every company out there is going to have social media trainings in place, tools to help equip their employees on how to better utilize social media. So the quicker companies can get out ahead of it and be an industry leader, it's just going to be better for everyone. It's going to be better for the company and for the people they employ.
If I can add to that too, Sharif, Generation Z is already entering the workforce, and they're going to continue to enter the workforce over the next several years. And with that, the reason why I bring that up is, this is the generation that has had a cell phone in their hand since middle school and social media in their hands since middle school. And we can't, as companies, assume that they've received this type of education in their formal schooling. All schools realize that social media literacy is a problem, but very few of them, they're all structured so differently that very few of them have a solution in hand where they can have the resources, the right teacher or right guidance counselor provide this type of training and education for them. And then they go on to, trades, business, college, and there's no guarantee that when they enter the doors of your workplace that they're going to have the knowledge of a personal brand and how that can impact their online reputation and the reputation of the company that they're representing in you.
Kevin, that's a great point you just made, because not only are they likely not getting it from school, they're likely not getting it from home either. I mean, think about it. If you're a parent that has kids old enough that they have social media, it means it probably didn't exist when you were their age. So how can you have an intelligent conversation with them about what a 6th or 7th grader should be doing with social media, what they should be experiencing, how they can leverage it if it didn't exist when you were that old? So you have to assume that chances are people are coming in without that training. This is a great way to train them and give them something that they likely have never had. And think about it, this Gen Z, and not just Gen Z, most people, I mean, look, everyone on their phone, it tells you how many hours per day you spend on screen time. For most of us, it's a very unpleasant number. It's high. And most of what they're doing on that phone is being on social media. Most people are on social media more than any other thing they do in their life. They spend more time on social media than doing homework, work in the office. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to all the employers out there. Your employers are spending a lot of time on social media. It's one of the most used things on the planet. Yet for some reason, there's little to no education on it. And people can leverage that to their advantage if they just knew how to.
So those are great points, and it just leads into my next question, which I was initially going to send to Kevin, but either you can answer or
yeah.
What's unique about LifeBrand's course offering from other options that might be out there?
Kev, I'm going to start that because I just look at the bigger picture of what's unique, and then I want you as our director of curriculum to really dive into what I'm going to miss. But what's so unique about it is it checks all the boxes we just talked about. Now, instead of an employer talking to their employees, it's us. It's LifeBrand, the world leader in social media, education, detection, and prevention. Most people, especially if they're in Philadelphia or the Northeast where we're born and grown, they probably already know us. They've seen our brand. There's some level of trust with us because they've seen it before. But all the stuff Kevin mentioned earlier, this is an incredible video-based interactive course that people can take on their own time. They can do 10 minutes of it now, 20 minutes of it later. There's no rush on it. There's these incredible assessments at the end of each chapter and at the end to make sure they retain the knowledge of what you're hoping your employees got from it. So now you just checked a lot of boxes. You just certified your employees in a new certification that's going to benefit them. You made sure they retained all that knowledge at the end. You have the ability to maybe address your own custom things for your company. But more than anything, you're hopefully creating a better work environment for your employees. Maybe they won't be as uncomfortable now seeing some of the posts that their employees, their coworkers posted, because those coworkers will now know better. They'll know better what's appropriate to post. But maybe because they realize what an important brand they have and how it represents their company, and they want their company to succeed, maybe they'll start using their personal brand to help the company grow. Or maybe they'll stop hurting the company's brand by what they do. There's so many benefits that can come from the course that we offer from all different spectrums to help not only the company's brand, the individual's brand. It can help, morale in the workforce. It helps everything. And it's something that most companies aren't offering right now. And I can tell you, the employees from the small group that we've already started rolling out this course, they love it. They love what they're getting. They appreciate their companies or schools, whoever it is, it's our client that's providing it to them. It's a really useful tool. But Kevin, I want to let you talk more to the specifics of everything they're gaining from it.
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing I would say is, what makes our course different is that it is nationally accredited. We went through a very rigorous process with a ton of standards. And we've earned that credentials through one of the leading organizations within the credentialing community. So I think that gives us a little bit of clout knowing the content that we're trying to educate employees about. But also, we also collaborated with outside subject matter experts in various industries, from education to legal to healthcare to training, HR, in the development of the course content. And these people were also integral in helping us develop applicable assessment questions that, in terms of topics and challenges they were seeing within their own workplace. So we collaborated with a team of people, even outside of this company, that knew that this was a growing problem within the workplace. I also think we offer a unique approach, going back to that focus on personal branding, connecting it to, social media use and activity amongst your employees, online reputation, and how that directly can come back to the company, and the consequences of what could occur if it's used improperly, irresponsibly. All of our lessons, specifically in some of the chapters, go through real world applicable examples of things that have actually happened to other companies and the people within. Now, obviously, we protect those companies. We don't give out, the names of the people and the companies that were involved, but we wanted to make this as most real world as possible, because this is actually happening now. I mean, you go out to Google or the internet and you search, social media mishap or social media firing in the workplace, you'll find just about a different news story every day. So we wanted to make that just as real as possible. And then the last thing I would say is we use kind of the philosophy of micro content. So by that, I mean, it's short, focused, effective lessons. And as TJ kind of alluded to earlier, this is an on-demand learning offering, so people can come and go. They don't have to complete it all in one sitting. And again, that just gives them the flexibility within their individual schedule to get it completed, within some certain time frame, if your company's having it as part of the compliance piece.
Thanks, Kevin. Now, here's an interesting piece, and this is just from listening to both of you talk. There is the aspect of positive brand building content, which does not exist in the existing DEI harassment stuff. But I was just thinking of it as well. Like, some companies might think, well, this is not a problem for me. My employees know better. They wouldn't claim to be part of our brand while they're doing something that's not right. And I was just watching both of you wearing LifeBrand shirts. So what happens if you do something that you shouldn't be doing with a LifeBrand shirt on? Doesn't that just drive into that same effect?
Sharif, it absolutely does. And any employers out there that think their employees are responsible and more educated than others, or more appropriate on social media than others, I would challenge them to reach out to me directly. I will give them some free credentials to use our technology that helps individuals scrub their social media, and I'll let them scrub their own. So I can't tell you how many HR professionals I have that say, our people would know better. I say, all right, well, let's scrub yours. if you're in HR, you're probably safe to assume you're slightly more responsible than the average employee. You're cognizant of what you're putting out there. And I have yet to do that exercise and an HR professional not find at least one thing on their social media that they're like, ooh, I didn't realize that was there. People forget that stuff's there. And it's not even, look, most people aren't bad people. They don't have horribly offensive or racist or derogatory posts. It's not like that. It's just stuff that could, to your point, Sharif, maybe they're wearing their company shirt. They went out on a Friday night, happy hour. Next thing you know, it's 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. And maybe they're posting a picture visibly intoxicated or doing something inappropriate, and that shirt was still there. Look, is that the most horrible thing in the world? No, but I bet the employee and the employer would prefer that not to be there. You know, our average person, I know we can get to this in a minute, but besides the education, you know, we offer a tool to help people find stuff on their social media that they might want to remove. Our average user over the past 5 years deletes over 19 posts per person. That's proof right there that everybody could use some education on the matter, and it can't hurt. And then it's not just about what not to do. Maybe some people are responsible and don't post anything inappropriate or bad. Maybe they don't post at all. But now we can teach them how to strategically use their social media to get an advantage, because people do look at your social media. You know, Career Builder did a study back in 2017. I'm sure the numbers are even more swayed now, but 48% of employers, almost half, out of 2,500 hiring managers that were interviewed, didn't offer someone a job because they couldn't find them on social media. So it's a big red flag if employers don't see you out there or don't know. They want to learn about you. So maybe people think they're doing good out there by not posting or very infrequently posting. But in reality, employers, potentially colleagues, clients that might want to work with you, they want to see who's out there. They want to see who you are. So by educating your employees, it might not be just preventing bad behavior. It can be encouraging good behavior that can give your employees and therefore your company a strategic advantage over those that aren't offering these types of education courses.
Completely agree. Now, what are, and I have an idea, but I'd like to hear from you guys. What are the benefits of having a social media policy, social media training, as well as some method or option for employees reviewing their social media?
Yeah, I mean, Sharif, it's really important because, like I said, every employee is likely on social media. Over 98% of people that are employed in the US have social media. Over 78% or 75% use it while at work. But that means that the overwhelming majority of your workforce is on social media, is using it while it's at work, are likely connected with other colleagues, clients, or partners of yours. So to not give a full 360-degree solution to help protect your employees and your organization, you'd really be missing the boat. I mean, social media is just, let's face it, it's too important and too much part of our lives to ignore it anymore. So to offer a policy is a great starting point. If you're not going to do anything of the other stuff, at least have a policy in place. Help protect yourself in case there is a social media mishap. And maybe you need to terminate somebody. Maybe something needs to happen. They need to be disciplined. At least there was a benchmark for what they knew was appropriate or not appropriate. So absolutely, if anything else you got from this, get the free template out of this link, download it. It's a great template to start and get that implemented for your company right away. But then the second part about educating employees, it is knowledge and information that the average person did not have. And because it's coming from us, a third-party leader in the space, the employees are going to digest it and accept it way more than they would if it was coming, from you guys over in HR or wherever it may be within the organization. But then if you have a template and you have education, but you don't provide them with a tool to improve that social media, you'd then be missing one of the biggest things. Because our tool that allows them, and look, it's optional. Maybe you make the course mandatory for your employees. Every employee is required to be certified every year. And then it's up to them if they want to use the tool to go back and look. But most of them will do it after they just took a course on all the benefits and pitfalls of what their social media could have. They're likely to use that tool. We built an incredible artificial intelligence tool that can go back from the inception of their social media and scan all text-based, photo-based, video-based, voice within video, text within photo and video, all those types of posts from inception to find things that could be potentially problematic. And I say potentially because here at LifeBrand, we're not looking to be the judge and jury of what's right or what's wrong. We're just saying, hey, look, these are the types of posts that have typically gotten people in trouble. Maybe you want to consider taking it down. And that's why we don't automatically delete the post. People say, hey, wouldn't it be easier if you just automatically deleted stuff? That would be censorship. We want no part of that. No employer wants any part of that. We're just trying to help identify the post and leave it up into the hands of the individual. But, Sharif, I think you alluded to it earlier about like the logo on the shirt. Employers can also put their own custom filters into that technology. So aside from our AI just finding things that are, overall probably agree that could be problematic or offensive, you can put, company executives' names in there, your competitors' names to make sure people aren't talking bad about your competitors. You can put logo, whatever it is that would be a benefit to your company to help make sure that your employees have a great brand. So now you have the template, the education, and an actual solution to, after everything you've learned, put it to work and clean up and build a great, strong personal brand.
And what I would add to that too is, all our research shows that there's absolutely a social media literacy and skills gap in the workplace. About 18% of employees are fired from their employer because of something they said or posted on social media. And about 35% are either disciplined or have to have a meeting with HR.
Kevin, say those, repeat those again, because those are just startling numbers for most people.
Yeah, for sure. So it's 18% of employees have been fired because of something they've posted on social media. And then 35% have either been disciplined or fired because of something they posted that was, harmful or damaging, to themselves and to, the companies that they're representing. So by having, the policy in place and having a training and then having a tool, you essentially will be decreasing the risk of this happening within your place of employment, within the company that you work for or that you own, which I think is super important. And you're equipping, I would say, the ability to use social media productively, professionally, and responsibly in today's world is a skill, and you'd be equipping them with a skill on top of all that.
And Kevin, just to add to what you said about the ones that have been fired or disciplined from it. So think about from a company's perspective, the cost of replacing that employee. Turnover is one of the biggest costs to companies that there are. And you're losing people that could be preventable. But besides the one that had to get fired, how about the ones that maybe quit because they were offended by another employee and their social media? Maybe you didn't realize that. Maybe your top employee that quit a month ago and made up some reason why they were leaving. Maybe they really left because they were tired of what one of their employees was posting on social media. Maybe they were tired of what their supervisor was posting on social media, or they saw their supervisor's political reviews or whatever it may be and made them leave. This is happening in the workforce every day. So not only do you have employees that you lost that got terminated because of inappropriate social media behavior, you have the ones that left because of social media that maybe you didn't even know about. It's a significant problem, and the cost to replace those employees based on what you'd be paying to provide a good a good policy, education, and a solution for your employees. If you can prevent some of those employees from leaving, besides having better morale and a better workplace, it might have even been a positive return on your investment, investing in a program like this for your employees. So really, it's such a win on so many different angles to be able to help educate and provide this just great tool and resource for your employees.
So TJ, it sounds like you're saying that with everything today, how company culture is really important and how, good culture, fosters productivity, innovation, and all that stuff. It seems like you're saying that social media can impact my company's culture.
Absolutely. And look, I think most companies want to encourage their employees to have a voice, to share their opinions, share their feelings. But you have to understand too that there's a good chance you could be offending somebody else. So to be able to educate your employees the right way to have a voice, but in a way of being respectful to others, being respectful to themselves and to the brand they work for, can only have positive effects. If an employee doesn't want to take that knowledge and put it into good use, that's on them. They were probably posting bad stuff before that. But also, if that employee then did cross that line and offended another employee, or caused someone to quit, or you lost revenue because of something they were posting, it is easier to terminate those employees because you did provide them with a policy and then education as to what's accepted. And for the employees out there that are listening, I have a lot of employees that say, it's my personal social media. I can say whatever I want. My employer doesn't have a right to interject. According to the Supreme Court, yes, they do. Just like you have, as an employee, have a right of free speech, employers have the same right for their speech not to be ruined or impacted by the speech of others that doesn't align with it. So there's a really big gray area there. But, something I always like to say, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from repercussions. Yeah, you can say whatever you want on your personal social media. It doesn't mean other people have to like it. It doesn't mean one of your top clients might not cancel on you because of it. It doesn't mean an employer might not terminate someone. It doesn't mean that next employer might not hire you because they don't like what you're putting on your social media. So can you say whatever you want? You sure can. But I just encourage you to keep in mind that there are repercussions or consequences to what you post. And that brand that you have online, it's either going to hurt you or help you. And it's up to you what you want it to do.
Exactly. So how can companies strategically use social media to help build a strong branding? We alluded to some before, but I'd like to dive more into that.
Yeah, think about it, Sharif. We're a fast-growing startup. We always want, as we're doing new exciting things and signing new partners or releasing new products and features, we want people to hear about it. So, we internally here, every time something new comes out, our marketing department sends it out to our employees, wants them to share it on their own personal social medias, because you never know, that brand new employee that you might have just hired might have an uncle that would be your next biggest client, and they see all of a sudden what you're doing. They're like, oh, wow, I need that. But also, most marketing professionals that are on here know the more organic reach you can get out there, the better these tech companies' algorithms promote your stuff. So if you can encourage employees to share, comment, repost what you're putting out there, it's going to get better reach because more people are sharing it and posting it, but it's going to help. The algorithms are going to help promote it through the paid aspects of what you're doing. But again, you don't want your employees posting something right after they maybe posted something offensive. So to be able to help leverage and essentially turn, again, we used the example earlier, if you have 5,000 employees, those could be 5,000 micro brands that are liabilities against your company. That could be 5,000 people that, because of what they're saying or doing, is hurting your company. Well, imagine turning that into 5,000 assets, 5,000 little mini brand ambassadors that are, promoting your company, sharing what you're doing. It will make a difference. It's a big deal to have that. Look, we've seen over the past 5 years, the influencer world just go through the roof, and people make fun of influencers. Let me tell you, them influencers are making millions of dollars, some of them. But now you see it into the NIL world, where student athletes can make money off their name, image, and likeness. And all of that, from the influencers to the NIL world, that all stems from building a strong brand online. That's going to just transfer right down now to the everyday average person. Maybe they're not looking to be a big time influencer, or maybe they're not looking to sell their name, image, and likeness. But if they're in high school, they probably want to go to college. And if it's them that's never built a brand for themselves versus somebody else that has, they're probably going to lose to that person that's got a better personal brand. For our employers out there, that's, again, if you have 5,000 employees, that could be 5,000 brands that better represent your company. Maybe one of your salespeople is competing with a salesperson at one of your competitors for some new client. and that person that's making the decision checks out both of the sales reps they're dealing with on social media. And maybe the one from your company has just this clean, great image. They share amazing high character things about family or community or their work, whatever it may be. That's going to give you an advantage over your competitor. That personal brand you helped build just helped your company's brand. But from our experience, employees now feel indebted because you did something to help improve them and their brand and their chances of succeeding in life. They appreciate that the company provided these tools and assets to them.
Awesome. So I was just thinking about the numbers you mentioned. So you said a company has 5,000 employees. So let's assume that these 5,000 employees have, let's say, 1,000 connections on LinkedIn, which probably means if you combine all their social media together, they have another 1,000 people that they're connected with. So it seems like you're saying that that could potentially be, for me, the company, an extra 10 million people that I can reach.
Exactly.
If we decide to use their voice to echo what we want.
Exactly. I'll give you a great example. We have a employee here that was one of our first ever employees. I won't mention her name or her uncle's name, but she was posting things on social media when she started working here. Her uncle just so happens to be the CEO of one of the largest Fortune 500 companies in the country. He was intrigued by what she was posting on her social media. He was like, hey, that's interesting. That's different. They then started talking over Thanksgiving dinner that he might have known nothing about what she was doing or having an interest in it. And that benefited us greatly. So to your point, to have maybe 10 million more people out there now gaining access to your company because of your employees for free, or the cost of providing education to them, that is far cheaper than what you would pay to reach 10 million people through paid social posts or paid digital posts or other forms of marketing. You can invest in your employees' education in this area for far less and reach more people than from a branding perspective than you could if you took that money and dumped it into a marketing campaign. So now you're providing a valuable resource to your employees. You're giving them something that they haven't gotten elsewhere. They appreciate that. You're potentially improving company morale. You're potentially improving your chances of turnover, all while also then building a bigger audience to market to. And you're getting all of that done for far less than you would have spent trying to pay to reach that same amount of people.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing. Now, we've talked about training your employees from a DEI perspective, sexual harassment perspective, but it seems like regulated industries would have an additional and probably more restrictive requirements.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Sharif. And it's something that we are diving into right now. Let's use healthcare, for example. One of the biggest costs that healthcare companies, hospitals, whatever it may be, incur every year is because of HIPAA violations and things that are going against HIPAA on social media, whether it was knowingly by an employee, maybe they're taking a selfie and didn't realize that confidential information in the background, or a patient in the background, or mention a patient's name. We can add custom filters for regulated areas to help protect against HIPAA violations. Or in the financial world, there's so many different worlds that we can apply custom filters to help really protect in those, like you said, regulated worlds, where not only can we find things that are across all industries and spectrums typically considered maybe in poor taste or inappropriate, but we can help find things that can actually help you and improve your chances of your employees in a regulated world.
Yeah, and one example that comes to mind, I think I heard somewhere, like if you're in the investment banking industry, you can't say the word guaranteed or something like that.
Yeah, like you can't use words like guaranteed return on investment, or there's so many different things. But the other thing is there's times where employees aren't trying, they're actually trying to help. They're trying to promote, they work at a bank and they're trying to promote this great, interest rate on a CD, or they're trying to promote this new thing they're doing with a checking account. when you're in those regulated worlds, there's typically a lot of fine print or disclosures that need to go in something like that, that maybe that employee didn't put. So to be able to help find those things, to be able to potentially manage those things for your employees. Look, there's ways that our technology can be used to not only help find and get rid of potentially problematic posts, but that a company can curate corporate approved marketing and branding that their employees can then put out, that you can rest assured has all the right, fine print, disclaimers, it's on brand, it's on company image, or, maybe this quarter your company is really focused on, improving one particular KPI, then great, marketing can develop all kinds of material for that particular KPI to help boost that, or whatever it may be the company's focusing on. And employees can be incentivized to promote on their own personal social media. Maybe whatever employee gets the most views or impressions through what they post, gets an extra PTO day, a gift card, whatever it may be. You can really utilize our technology, not just to help find and remove harmful stuff, but to post the right things from the beginning. Because there are a lot of employees that want to post about their company, but they don't know how to. They don't know what the subject should be. They don't know if they should use a hashtag. They don't know if they are allowed to or not. They don't know if they should have fine print, disclaimers, whatever it may be. So they just don't post. Well, then the company's losing that benefit. So for the company to just be able to create their own library of content that the employees can just in the push of a button send out on their own social media, and it's on brand, it's got everything in terms of disclaimers and protection. Again, it's more ways to win in this world against your competitors.
When you were talking, I thought of something and you raised a good point. The employees want to help, but sometimes they don't know if what they're about to discuss is something that is already released. It could be pre-released, which means, hey, you can't talk about it till next month. Yes, we want to talk about it, but not yet because of competition.
Right. Or maybe an employee wants to, they're excited that they just signed this big new client and they think that'll help them get other clients in that space. So they post about it. Well, maybe the contract really wasn't signed yet. Maybe they heard that it was done, but it wasn't. Or maybe that particular client didn't want their name publicly disclosed. There's so many different ways that, again, by having a policy in place, providing training, providing a resource to help clean up, and then maybe potentially a resource to help distribute the correct potential information. There's just so many ways that can be a benefit that, again, employees that maybe posted by mistake and got the company in trouble would be avoided. Employees that are too scared to post because they don't want to make a mistake now can be engaged. It's just, again, there's so many benefits out there for a company to gain. And what's great about the offerings that LifeBrand has is a lot of them can be deployed in different ways. There could be ways for our education or our technology to be deployed that we didn't talk about today. That's why I encourage everybody. Look, chances are your company does not have any type of social media programs or training in place. What would it hurt to get on an exploratory call with one of our business development specialists and hear about what we have and maybe bounce off them? Hey, look, this is how I would like to deploy your education or technology. Is there a way to do it that way? And chances are we're already doing it that way, or it would be a real easy fix for us. But I encourage everybody, reach out to us, talk to somebody, let us talk to you about your particular company. We can talk to the different department heads because this is really something that can benefit a lot of different departments. This can benefit sales, HR, marketing, compliance. I mean, there's so many different things that we can touch that all of them would probably agree, like, hey, this is one of those rare things that actually benefits the company as a whole in almost every department within the organization.
Awesome. Kevin, did you want to add to that?
No, I mean, just one interesting trend that I just want people to be aware of with the connectivity amongst employees in the workplace. There's an interesting study out there that shows that 94% of employees receive requests to connect with each other online. 64% receive requests from other people in the company or department that they barely know anything about. and about 50% receive requests to connect from their supervisors or immediate bosses. So just thinking about that and how much interaction and social interaction is happening actually outside of the workplace on social media just kind of shows you how, like, the impact that this can really have on your workplace. And that's just internally. That doesn't include connections with current customers and clients.
Kevin, those are unbelievable numbers. I'm glad you brought them up. And now think about that. If you're sitting here and you are in HR or human capital, and you're hearing that percentage of bosses are requesting to connect with people that report to them, my guess is you're sitting there right now thinking, oh, there are definitely bosses that, based on what they say and do on social media, is probably going to create a problem for the people beneath them if they see that. It's not always about the little guy on the totem pole posting something bad. A lot of times it's the guy at the top, or female at the top, and that person is posting something and they're requesting their people beneath them to follow them. I mean, it's a really, really slippery slope that, again, that manager or higher level person, you're going to want them to be trained to know what to say or not say, or maybe part of your policy is they're not allowed to request. So I mean, think about how uncomfortable of a position that is for the people that report up to them. Like, my boss is requesting to, like, do I say no? And then he or she's going to hold that against me. Do I say yes? But now I feel exposed. I mean, that's, Kevin, did you say 50% of supervisors request?
Yeah, 50% of employees receive requests from their immediate supervisors.
I mean, think about that. And again, I'm not saying what's allowed or what's not allowed. It's your own company, but I mean, I know that would make me uncomfortable if, supervisors here requesting that, that from the people beneath them. You're probably putting that employee in a really uncomfortable situation. So again, these are all things to consider that could be addressed in a policy, could be addressed in organized training. I mean, some of those numbers Kevin just said, if you're in HR or, human capital, hopefully they have you thinking, oh man, we got to do something about this right now.
Yeah. And, we just know and believe that this is really the solution that can protect your individuals, their brands, and your company and its information all together. We really do.
And again, going back to what I said earlier, that maybe employees are leaving that you don't know about because of what other people are posting on their social media. Maybe there's employees that are leaving because their boss is trying to connect with them on social media. I mean, there's so many different things that social media causes maybe a non-direct or not in sight problem for a company that all of this can help address and put to bed. Again, it's really needed. And hopefully some of the stats Kevin shared and information he shared and some of the things I shared have really helped open people's eyes to, wow, we are behind the ball here. And I hate to break it to everybody, social media is not going anywhere. It is still in its infancy. Yeah, social media might look different 5 years from now. Maybe there's no more TikTok, maybe Facebook's in the metaverse or whatever it may be. Maybe there's new players, but the idea of people sharing, creating, and networking online is here to stay. So the sooner you can educate your people how to not let it hurt them, but also how to let them use it to their strategic advantage, is all the better.
So I'm going to pause real quick and see if there are any questions. No, I don't see any open questions. So at this point, typically it would be a case where we say, okay, now you've attended the webinar, we've talked about social media policies, we talked about education, we talked about the possibility of a tool. What do I do next? So we've kind of put together a list of next steps for you to move to that next point. So first of all, one of the things we believe you need to do is figure out who in your company would or should be the owner of your social media policy. And this depends on your company structure, right? This person could be compliance, it could be your chief medical officer, it could be HR, it could be internal communications. Figure out who that person is, and then figure out what's most important to your company based on your industry, your style, your culture, and that will drive what should be in your social media policy. Is this a company that's very open, that they pride themselves on being outdoorsy, going on hikes together, whatever it is, or it's more regulatory, like, hey, look, these things cost me if I play it wrong. And once you define the things that are most important to your company based on your industry, then you start creating that social media policy. And we have a template. I think it's in the chat. Yes.
Yep.
There's a free template that helps you guide what should be in your policy. And if you want, feel free to reach out to one of us. We'll definitely help guide you through that if you want. I'll pause there before I go to the next few points. You guys want to add anything to that?
No, Sharif, go ahead. And then I'll just kind of wrap up with, how we can help and get those that are listening to this some further information right away.
Yep. And then the next thing is, once you have your social media template, then you have to determine what's the format for delivery of your template. Are you going to send in an email? It's going to sit somewhere on a drive in your company's database where people may or may not see it. You have to, how do you normally communicate? You have to communicate on social media channels as well. But how do you deliver that social media policy and their guidelines to your employees? Are you going to use a training? Is it going to be in class? Is it going to be
Is it going to be using an RE course,
It's an RE course. And then determine what are the pros and cons for your company specifically, of buying it from us or another third party, or trying to build it on your own.
Yeah. And Sharif, those are great follow-ups for everybody. And look, at the end of the day, our goal is to help educate people, whether they're necessarily improving their organization through us or from someone else. But like to what you just said, do you want to find it from someone else? Do you want to try to build it yourself? To try to build your own social media education program is going to come off kind of unfair to your employees. Like, my boss created it. It's not going to resonate the same as coming from an independent third party. But also the things that Kevin mentioned earlier about the collaboration that went into this. People that are widely regarded as world leaders in certain spaces, such as social media psychology and helping detect stuff and protecting people. I mean, there was unbelievable people that contributed towards this project. I think I'd be hard pressed to find a better solution than the one we offer currently. So for everybody, I would definitely start by getting that template, going to www.lifebrand.life. You can request a free demo, from one of our business development specialists. You can reach out to us directly. I rarely ever give my personal email out, but I am going to share it in this webinar because it's how much I believe that we can help your organization. You can reach out to me directly, and I will either personally help educate you on what our company offers you, or I'll connect you with one of the experts that we have in our office here that can run you through everything. You can email me directly, Thomas, THOMAS @lifebrand.life. And I promise if you reach out to me requesting more information, I will get back to you within one business day. I'll make sure I connect you with the right people within our organization. And I'd be more than happy to talk to you about how maybe we can custom tailor something for your company. If our offerings don't fit exactly what you're looking for, in most cases, we're willing to work with you on that. So please download the template, reach out either through our website or through me directly via email. We would love the opportunity to come meet with you in person, host you at our office if you're here in the Philadelphia area, or hop on a Zoom call and just talk a little bit more about the products that we have. Get some free examples of the course in your hand. Get some free examples of our technology in your hand. In fact, you can go to that same website I gave you earlier, www.lifebrand.life, and even go get a free social media check right now. You can go see what your social media looks like. You can connect your accounts for free, and we'll run it, and our AI will tell you how many potentially problematic posts you might have. And that right there will probably be all you need to say, hey, there might be a problem in our organization. Let me reach out to these guys and see what they have to offer.
I guarantee you'll be surprised.
Yes.
Kevin, anything before we close?
Nope. No, I just want to thank all the attendees and participants for their time and tuning into us today.
Awesome. Thanks again for your time, and our audience, thank you for attending. Please join us for, in the future, we're gonna have other webinar series following. Actually, I should share this. But please join us for those as they come along. Share. On the screen, you should see the template and the actual location on the website, that you can find it if you want it. If you go to www.lifebrand.live, and an image of the training certification.
And Sharif, I'm glad you just mentioned that we'll be having more of these webinars in the future. As I've said a couple of times, our goal is to be the world leader in social media education, detection, and prevention. And we start with education because that's where we want it all to start. We're going to keep building out free resources. This social media policy template is a completely free resource that you may have spent thousands of dollars through your law firm on getting drafted for you. We are going to continue to keep offering great free content and solutions for your company. So even if you don't have things, you don't have room in your budget to add some of the higher level things, such as this amazing course or our technology, we can still be an incredible resource for you. And we're going to keep sharing our knowledge with everybody, because our goal is to help empower people and educate them, whether they're buying something from us or not.
Awesome. So thanks, everyone. And we wish you a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.